evening's program features an exclusive conversation between the second gentleman of the United States, Douglas Emhoff, and Scott Edelman, immediate past president of AJC Los Angeles. Our special guest, Douglas Emhoff, has made history as the nation's first second gentleman. We are deeply grateful to the second gentleman for his lifelong commitment to the Jewish community and to the pursuit of justice, which has led him to this very unique position in public service. We now present this year's Neil Sandberg Memorial Program, a conversation with second gentleman Douglas Emhoff.
Hi, Scott. It's great to see you.
Doug, it's great to see you.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm honored to be here, so thank you.
Well, thank you. We're honored to have you. And first of all, on behalf of the AJC family here in Los Angeles and those who are tuning in from around the nation, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Second Gentleman, for joining us this evening. Doug, you and I met a long time ago when we were younger lawyers doing pro bono work for Beth Tzedek, a cause which I know is dear to your heart and to mine. Let me start by asking you, if I may, because we're all so interested in this, a little bit about your journey. From being a well-regarded and a very well-liked entertainment lawyer in Los Angeles to now being on the global stage as the spouse and the partner of a remarkable trailblazer and daughter of California, Kamala Harris, our vice president. If you have had even a moment with all that has been going on to reflect on all of this, how would you describe your experience and your journey?
Well, thanks, Scott, again, and thanks to AJC. It really is an honor to be here. It's hard to even put into words this experience because it has actually gone through phases. Because think about it, March 12th, I went to DC from LA for what I thought was a long weekend, and I never left for almost a year. So from March till August, it was like everyone else out there trying to get through COVID and deal with work and family and that horrible experience that we're hopefully getting out of. And then in August, we got put on the ticket. And that was a complete and massive change, not only to get out of COVID, but then all of a sudden be on the road during COVID for this campaign. So we get through that, and then we won. And now you have this transition period, which was difficult and challenging, but also completely different from the campaign. And then on January 20th, we had the inauguration, which was then this whole other new experience that we've now been almost 5 months, which was completely different from anything else I had just done. So think about all that change that I've undergone in a year or so. And so it's a little head spinning, but as you've known me a long time, I put my head down and I just do what I need to do to support my wife and now to support this administration. But it is surreal. It's at times very unique, but it's just such an honor. It's so humbling to be in this situation, to go from our community on the west side of Los Angeles to be in this role. It's truly amazing. And I plan to do whatever I can to help her and help the country.
Well, you have been an inspirational figure. You've caught the imagination of the public in the role that you are forging, and the public service that you are involved in. But it must be so different to go from being a private individual with a private life to suddenly thrust on the public stage, with your every movement watched, your every conversation overheard. What's that transition like?
It's difficult at times, to be honest. And you and I have both represented clients in the end. We've been fortunate enough to represent clients in the entertainment field, and I'm sure we always wondered, oh gosh, that looks really incredible to have to deal with that. Luckily we're behind the scenes just helping our clients. And so for me, it's an even more unique perspective to go from what I did for a living to be a part of it now. I think I'm in public service, and with that comes some sacrifice, and it's worth it. So I've realized that things that aren't going to be for a while, and then just go with it, and then just that's what it is, and then just lean into it, and then that's it, and you just do what you got to do, and that's what I've been doing. So you just have to understand a lot of things that you were able to do before, you're just not going to be able to do now, but it's okay. It's okay.
Well, and speaking of leaning into it, many in our audience tonight had the opportunity to join you for the White House Seder a couple of months ago, a virtual event that you led with tremendous warmth and spirit. And you somehow managed to create a sense of personal connection among the thousands who patched in, a sort of extended Jewish family, very much in need of fellowship and inspiration after a dark and difficult year of the pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that event meant to you and what it says about your evolving role as America's first second gentleman?
Sure. It's to this day, people come up to me, even this past weekend, and bring it up and talk about what it meant to them. So hearing what it meant to them, it just makes it all the more impactful to me. And speaking of family, my whole family was on. So they logged in too, because we weren't able to be together. And so many millions of families, whatever faith, wherever they come from, had to put pause on traditions and things that are important to them. And people had to improvise. So this was a way, it's never been done before. There had never really been a public Seder before in the White House. There had been some Seders, but nothing like this. And so we decided we wanted to do something different. We had no idea it would work. We didn't have any idea if anyone would show up. And it turns out tens of thousands of people logged in, and then we're able to see it and experience it with us. So it really, I get emotional thinking about it and talking about it because of what it meant to others and what it meant to my own family, and certainly look forward to keeping up this tradition as well going forward.
It did mean a lot to the community. It really did, to have that connection to the White House. It was inspiring and warm, and we thank you for doing that, and delighted that you're going to do it again.
Yeah, and Scott, I take it very seriously. Being the first Jewish spouse of any president or vice president, and I understand what that means, and I understand that role, and I'm very grateful I'm able to do things like the Passover Seder and others, and I will continue to do that in the future.
Thank you for that. If I may turn to a more somber subject, the murder of George Floyd a year ago brought a renewed and widespread concern and calls for a reckoning with America's history of racial injustice. At the same time, in recent months, we have witnessed a disturbing spike in anti-Asian bigotry and a steady rise in anti-Semitic incidents, both verbal and physical, targeting members of the Jewish community. I am proud that AJC was a vocal advocate for the passage of the Jabara Higher No Hate Act, which President Biden recently signed into law. What can you tell our audience about the administration's commitment to combating such hate? And what can you share with us specifically when it comes to confronting the world's oldest hatred, anti-Semitism?
a minute about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Joe has spoken about it, but Joe Biden got into the race after Charlottesville when he saw the tiki tortures and what they were saying. Jews will not replace us. That was so impactful to Joe Biden that he jumped into the race. Kamala Harris has been fighting these issues her whole career. And for me, it's really important to know that they're not just saying the words and signing the bills, but they feel very strongly about this the same way I do and the same way our community does. So that's one. I've been speaking out on this publicly. I've been doing everything I can behind the scenes on the issue of anti-Semitism, and I will continue to do that as strongly and as forcefully as I can, and assist this administration any way I can on this issue. And there are specific things going on. There was a call that I was a part of with Jewish leaders about a week or so ago, which probably many of you were on, and you got to hear from the administration directly on some of the things that are happening. And I've also been saying publicly too, it's the anti-Semitism, but it's hate of all kinds that's reared its head. And it's this hate, and Asian hate, Islamophobia, homophobia, you name it. We've got to stand up as an administration and as a country to do what we can to snuff it out.
You are new to public service in your role as second gentleman, but you have long been committed to giving back. I know that from our history together and how we met. You have spoken about your work when you were a young attorney with the Jewish Community Organization that provided legal services, B'Tzedek. What compelled you to work with a Jewish organization in particular? And what kind of lasting impact did that involvement in the Jewish community have on your life as you reflect on your role today?
So as you know, I met you 25 plus years ago, probably through B'Tzedek, but I got involved with B'Tzedek 30 plus years ago as a brand new lawyer. I was introduced to B'Tzedek by my first firm, Pillsbury, still around. And it was a great connection because of the Jewish angle, but it was really the justice angle, B'Tzedek justice. And I was so impacted as a young lawyer, as you know, Scott, going downtown to court and just seeing all those folks in need, and just that just affected me. So when I had the opportunity to actually work on cases pro bono, one, it helped hone my skills as a lawyer, but two, you really represented a client and they needed you, whether it was an unlawful detainer action or a consumer fraud action, you name it. I did it. And 30 plus years later, you still remember those faces, you still remember those cases. And now as second gentleman, I have traveled the country. I think I've been to 15 or 16 states already. And several of those states I've met with pro bono legal services, clients and aid workers. And I've heard the stories, and it's the same situation that we've been working on all these years. It's people in need who don't have access to justice. They don't have access to legal services, or they don't know they're entitled to certain rights. They just don't know where to find them. And especially during COVID, as we are coming out of COVID, the stories are even that much worse. And to be able to listen to that and bring it back to the administration is a great way to spend my time as second gentleman. And it really marries up all the things that I care about: justice and fighting for people, standing up to bullies, standing up to injustice. This is why I went to law school.
Well, I want to thank you, Mr. Second Gentleman, for your grace and your eloquence this evening. We are inspired by your message and excited for all the good that you will continue to do on behalf of all Americans. And we want you to know that you can count on AJC support every step of the way.
Thank you, Scott, and thank you, AJC, and everyone on the call. Thank you for everything you do. It means so much what you do each and every day in our fight for justice. So thank you all, and thank you, Scott. It's great to see you as always.
Thank you, Doug. It's been wonderful.
Take care.
You too.
Wow. Well, sincere gratitude to the second gentleman of the United States, Douglas Emhoff, and Scott Edelman for participating in AJC's LA's Neil Sandberg Memorial Program. We are really fortunate that Mr. Emhoff is so deeply committed to his role as the second gentleman and to the safety and well-being of our country and our community. It was a great honor to host the second gentleman as part of the 76th Kaufman Family Annual Meeting, and thanks again to Scott Edelman for arranging it. I also want to thank the leaders at AJC LA and across the nation for attending this evening's program. Without the engagement of the community, none of AJC's LA's work would be possible. We are grateful for your ongoing support, and we look forward to working to advance the essential mission of this organization. Thank you again, and we wish everyone great health and safety, and have a great evening. And thank you again. Good night.